Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Michael, and today, in this video, we're going to be reviewing episode 3 of Wandavision. This is a spoiler warning, now and going forward, whether it's related to predictions or actual plot details and such. You have been warned. So, my predictions for this episode and going forward are, I recently explored the idea that Dottie might die. I'm kind of looking at it as a foreshadowing element, that the fact that she's the one who spilled blood, it's possible maybe that she might die or get hurt in the future. Since she doesn't trust Wanda, I feel like maybe she's going to get a little too close or walk in at the wrong time on something, and Wanda will either kill her or hurt her. And that'll be one of the bigger events of this season. But, yeah, we'll see. My second prediction, the ads in general represent sponsorship, and they seem to contain hints and imagery related to Wanda's struggles. So I'm thinking that they are likely not created by Wanda. The ads are generally a way of supplying the presentation of the show, and in this case, whoever's helping Wanda create this reality is supplying her the ability to do so. So I feel like the ads are linked to that character and reflect on the pain that's probably being used here somehow inside Wanda. So we start off with a new theme song, a very 70s theme song, and notice the surplus of hexagon imagery in this one, which of course does play into the way the theme song plays out, but we're still seeing a lot more hexagon imagery. So right off the bat, they're continuing basically from the moment that they found out they were pregnant or the next day. I like that look that Wanda gave to the doctor when he made the comment about simpler for women. But then outside we can see as Vision is walking the doctor out, he turns around and notices Herb and says hi, and Herb is like glitching into the wall. He's cutting into the wall and can't really stop himself from doing it.
You have finished your drink. So I have.
It starts raining when her
water just broke.
Yes, dear.
Oh my god, I'm absolutely in love with how kooky this episode is. Yes, the tropes. It reminds me of Willy Wonka. It's great. I didn't notice on my first watch, but when Wanda has her false contractions and the house freaks out around them, they actually do quickly cut to the ice maker on her refrigerator, shooting out ice, just as she makes that comment later to Geraldine about it. So at least they do establish that the ice machine really is there when she talks about it later. And then we cut to another advertisement, which I'm actually really loving these advertisements. And this one was a really fun one. The hair was ridiculous on her, and I'm glad they've kind of kept the same people along the way too. So I wonder if they're also trapped in this reality, or if they're just, I don't know. But anyway, Hydra made a pun in this ad with their own name, like Hydra Soak. I appreciate that. And but to continue on with this ad versus the other two, this one kind of contrasts with the other two, where it seems to show more of Wanda's desires, or if it's related to Strucker or Hydra in another way, it's still furthering the idea that whoever is contributing to Wanda going through this besides Wanda, again, is like setting it up through this. Like, I think Hydra is very directly involved. I was thinking about it watching it this time through, that maybe Wanda went to confide in Hydra or Strucker after Endgame for some reason. Like, they did sort of make her, you know, I mean, they created or gave Wanda and Pietro their abilities. And what if Hydra wants to like write off Wanda and just get her kids? Like, if there's going to be another set of twins that are fast and chaos magic, then all they have to do is harvest her kids and then get rid of Wanda, because they can basically start over from kids. Like, when they got Wanda and Pietro, they were already that old, or they were so old when they got them, and figured, oh, we'll just bend them to our will. But in this case, they're going to probably start with babies. So I think they probably convinced Wanda and made her an offer or something. Maybe because Hydra's involved, that's one of the reasons why Sword can also tune in to the sitcom show. Like, I feel like there's definitely three, something about three going on, or maybe six, but like three. I think it's Wanda, Hydra, or whatever division of Hydra, and somebody else that is helping to create this. So along the way here, Vision also seems to be confirmed as not in much control. Like, he's autonomous, he's responsible for himself, and we get to... I feel like we as the audience are mostly with Vision because he seems to be the one that has the least amount of awareness in this world and is the closest to Wanda. So Wanda is probably keeping him the most in the dark about things. Because I had to double check when Wanda sort of glitch cut what Vision was saying. I had to make sure that it wasn't just something the internet did to my stream. But yeah, so that was creepy because Wanda shows no hesitation when it comes to controlling her environment. And I'll speak more about that later. But she seems to not hold back at all when it comes to controlling Vision either. So this definitely circles a lot more around Wanda than Vision. And so since Vision seems to have far less control in this world and has to put the pieces together just as much as anybody else did in this city. That stork though. I'm a stork. A stork. I'm a stork. Wanda could not make it vanish or control it, which I thought was interesting. Since she's gone to great lengths to control everything else in her world, it does stand out that the stork couldn't be controlled by Wanda or dismissed by Wanda. The stork could mean one of two things: that the babies are coming and there's no avoiding it, so she can't dismiss it, or the stork is somehow connected to the other contributor, whoever else is involved with making this reality with Wanda, and doesn't allow her to dismiss it. Or perhaps both, because the babies are going to come whether she wants to or not, so just maybe that was just a, hey, they're coming, get ready. So, twins, of course, because we knew that was coming. So I'm going to reserve my comments on the boys. I mean, it's Tommy and Billy, which is great. It was cute that they argued about the names. And I mean, they are sort of inconsequential right now, regardless of what we as an audience may or may not know about them as characters. I'm not really going to comment on them in this video. But after they were born, the doctors dismiss and Vision's outside, and then Geraldine is left with Wanda. So then when Vision starts to talk to Herb and Agnes, because they seem suspicious, Wanda was left inside with just Geraldine, and Agnes asks Vision if Geraldine is inside with Wanda. It's not quite clear, though, if what the concern on Agnes's face really means, though. Agnes seems to realize Geraldine doesn't belong in Westview, or she seems to make that point to Vision since she has no home and stuff. But it's still not exactly clear. Like, there's concern on Agnes's face, but is it because she's just as trapped as everyone else is, even if she's involved with setting it up with Wanda? Because she's got a lot of fear going on now, and Herb seems to be on the same page. So, like, how much can they know? How much can they really know and hold on to and remember as an ongoing thing? But when cutting inside, when Monica mentions Ultron about Pietro, she seems to have a lapse in her processing, so to speak, and forgets that she's probably supposed to be there, like, undercover rather than, you know, just playing a character under the spell. And she seems to just forget that and mentions out of turn about Ultron, which kind of hints to Wanda, and that hints to Wanda big time that Geraldine really shouldn't be there. So she's found out Monica must have snuck into the world somehow and then chose to play the part of Geraldine. But anyway, so then we're back outside. This scene cut back and forth a lot. So then back to Agnes, Herb, and Vision. Agnes and Herb know that Geraldine is there for a reason, and they know they're all at risk from Wanda if they're trapped there. Herb didn't get to finish what he was saying, but it seemed like they were going to say trapped. The word seemed like it was going to be trapped. But, you know, I mean, Agnes must have had the foresight to know that if they told Vision, then it probably won't go well because he's too close to Wanda. When Vision enters and asks where Geraldine is, Wanda is just kind of standing there, framed so far away with her back to Vision, and just kind of says matter-of-factly, oh, she had to go. But this unsettling smile on Wanda's face and the ambient sound of apprehension behind this look, this frame, it starts to really paint her as the villain. Like, she could overall be the villain or become the villain. But we don't know. Like, that's a lot to say, because it seems like S.W.O.R.D. is concerned for Wanda as well. So, like, I don't know. We'll see. But then after she says that, the aspect ratio starts to change, and it starts to change gradually. That was really trippy. I wasn't prepared for that. And it does so in a similar way to the color being added back to the world in the previous episode. However, at the same time, we transition to the outside world for the first time, and the aspect ratio reinforces that. So it could be an indication that the world progressed further again, or it could just be a nice long transition way to cut to the outside world. But because it was one of those slow moving moments, it seemed like, okay, we're on to the next phase. Like, you know, things are going the way they're supposed to be. I also appreciate that little bit of before Vision came back in, and we weren't sure what happened to Geraldine. It's kind of set up for, you know, like just half a second that, you know, Wanda could have done something to Geraldine, and they just gave us that false moment for a couple of seconds, which is very threatening. It says a lot about what could happen with her. So she just gets ejected out, and where she flies out to seems to be the edge of Westview. And I didn't notice before that the Welcome to Westview sign was right there when I first watched it. But yeah, so she seems to fly out right outside the edge of town, completely surrounded by tents and stations and personnel and vehicles and lights. It actually really reminds me of the setup around Mjolnir in the first Thor, how they had all the tents set up. And then the next shot, you know, the helicopter's hovering over Monica, and we can see the edge of the barrier lit up by these huge lights. And beyond the barrier, you can still kind of see some lights of houses on the inside. It isn't like a totally void area on the other side of the barrier. So I don't know if it's more of like, this world is hidden underneath our dimension, but still visible. So it just seems like it's not there. It doesn't seem like one of those ones where it's just completely invisible. But I had a really fun time with that episode. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching and listening to me ramble on again about WandaVision. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you'd like to check the next one, which will be out next week. And until then, thank you very much, and have a good one.
Bye. Bye.